Recently, Spotify came out with a smart device that connects to your vehicle so that you can more easily listen to music, podcasts, and all the good stuff that Spotify has to offer right from your car. CarThing is a tool that installs relatively easy into your vehicle and utilizes your internal in-dash system to play music from Spotify. Now, this is not a standalone device, so I want to talk a little bit about what you need in order to make this thing work. We're going to jump into my truck, we're going to take a look at how it actually works, and then I'll give some closing thoughts at the end. So let's start out by talking about this little device. It's extremely thin and lightweight. It has a nice knob that also is a push button, and then it has a button down on the bottom. It also has 4 quick access buttons on the top that are for accessing playlists or podcasts, albums, or anything. You can assign them just by pressing and holding when you're on a playlist. We'll look at that a little bit later. And then you also have a settings button over on the very end. We'll look through the settings as well. So this device is really cool. It comes with some different adapters so that you can connect it in your vehicle in different ways. I opted to use the mount that mounts to the vent, and I like it because it has 2 attachment points, and it makes for a pretty sturdy mounting of this little device on the vent of my vehicle. But there's also an adhesive back. If you have a vehicle with a CD player, there's also a CD slot so that it will slide right into that CD slot, and there's lots of different ways to mount it. The mount is also magnetic, and so once you have fixed the mount in your vehicle, you can magnetically attach CarThing and then remove it and put it away. Perhaps you live in an area that you worry about having things like this sitting out in view in your vehicle. I used to fear that a lot when I lived in California, and so I would take something like this off and put it in my glove box so that it would be out of sight and people wouldn't see it if they were looking through the window of my vehicle. So it is powered by USB, so it comes with a USB-C to USB-A cable, and so this is the cable right here. It has just enough length to pretty much reach wherever your cigarette lighter adapter would be, and it also comes with a cigarette lighter adapter. Now it needs a slightly higher powered cigarette lighter adapter in order to power this. I tried plugging it directly into the USB port that my truck has built in, and it did not seem to be enough power. But I used a higher power cigarette lighter adapter that I have that's not the one that came with CarThing, and it worked just fine. However, CarThing does come with its own, so if you don't have one, don't worry. Now, one interesting thing is that CarThing auto detects when you start the car. And so usually when you start your vehicle, the power comes to the cigarette lighter adapter, and then it would power on CarThing. In a truck like mine and other vehicles, there is one sometimes that runs all the time. You have power going through a cigarette lighter adapter all the time. And then CarThing doesn't know how to shut off in that instance. And so for me and my truck, I had to actually unplug CarThing every single time because I don't have an adapter like very close to where CarThing was that powers down with the vehicle. So that's something that I'll definitely have to figure out for long-term use. But I love using CarThing even in a newer vehicle because Spotify built into the system that's in my vehicle is really just not that good. It's kind of sluggish and buggy, and it freezes all the time. Sometimes it doesn't load. It's just not a great experience in the vehicle that I'm in. And yes, my vehicle does have CarPlay and also has Android Auto, and I could play by connecting my device in that way, but you still have to connect your phone via a cable in order to use CarPlay or Android Auto. Of course, I could use Bluetooth from my phone as well and use Bluetooth to send music from my phone to the dash of my truck, but that experience also is not ideal. I shouldn't be using my phone or touching my phone while I'm driving, and so CarThing solves that. It gives me a nice display that's higher quality than the one that's in my vehicle, and it makes it very easy for me to get through Spotify and navigate, and especially using the quick action buttons on top that launch playlists and whatever I have saved in those buttons, and it just starts playing, and it's a really great experience. As I'll show you a little bit later, it's also voice activated, and so you're able to just use your voice just like you would use Siri or anything else and start playing music, and it actually works pretty well. Now, before we hop into my truck and do a demo, let's talk about how you set this thing up. You simply plug it into power and pair it to your phone. There are two different ways that you could send music to your car, via Bluetooth or via a cable connection. Now, if your car doesn't have a Bluetooth connection, so you can't play music over Bluetooth, you are going to need an aux cable, and that aux cable is going to have to be plugged into your phone. There is no external aux from the SmartThing device. So when you're connecting and going through the setup process, if your vehicle has Bluetooth, the process is super easy. This little device doesn't actually connect to your car. It connects to your phone and becomes an external device for controlling your phone. Your phone is still pushing the music to your vehicle. And so whether you're connected via an aux cable or Bluetooth, you're still going to need your phone in the car. If you power on CarThing and your phone is not in the car, it's going to have a message on the screen that says there's no device connected. Would you like to pair a new one? Or of course you could pair multiple devices to CarThing as well, which is really great. So now we're going to jump into my vehicle. We're going to take a look at how CarThing works, and then I'll have some closing thoughts afterwards. All right, so we're in my vehicle with CarThing, and I'll do my best here to give you a good view and overview of how it works and its responsiveness. My truck has Spotify built in to the in-dash device, but it's just not a great experience. It feels like it hasn't been upgraded since, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, even though this truck's only a year and a half old. But with CarThing, I can navigate through my home, and this is showing me recent stuff that I've listened to. And then I could just toggle over. It takes me into voice. Then it takes me over into my library where I can get to playlists. After I view a few of those, I get to podcasts, a few of those. I get to artists, albums, songs, all that good stuff. The back button will always take me back to the beginning or back to what I was listening to before. And so I can hit play, navigate through to different tracks, favorite a song by hitting the heart, or of course go into shuffle mode. So navigating is pretty simple. Swiping is a little sluggish, maybe a little more sluggish than using a phone, but it is nowhere near as sluggish as using it on my vehicle here, which is a 2020 3500 Silverado. And so as I navigate through, this is pretty responsive to me. I'm not, some people I've seen complain about how snappy it is. And when you're driving and you're swiping, which I don't know if you should be doing that or not, but when you are driving and trying to navigate here, you're not going to want it to be so responsive that it just flies back and forth, and you're kind of going back and forth between the different screens trying to find what you meant to select. There are also quick action buttons up here on top that you can set to playlists or albums or even specific songs, and I have a couple of those set, and when you tap one of them, it begins playing that automatically, so it's a really quick way to get there. We'll go through the play settings pretty soon here, but first we're going to go through some settings. So the top right button over here takes you into settings where you can turn microphone on and off. You can view the different phones that you have connected. You can go into options and choose the interface in which you have it connected. So air vents here, too much airflow going into the microphone. So it changes the way that the microphone works on the device because it's in front of an air vent, which is interesting. Your simple about menu here, and then a restart to power cycle it, just in case you needed to do that. Of course, you could unplug it and power cycle it as well. An interesting thing, so being plugged into my vehicle here, I could turn off my vehicle, and because the power jack that I have this plugged into is constantly receives power, the device itself never powers off. And so I physically have to unplug the device myself in order for the screen to go off. Most vehicles have a power jack that powers off with the vehicle. And when it powers off with the vehicle, that means that the device is going to power off as well. And then when you get back into the vehicle and start your vehicle up, then the power comes back on to CarThing. So now I'm going to go ahead and go through some of these menus and actually play and show you how that works. But because I don't want to get demonetized, enjoy some light jazz while I do that. was utilizing the buttons at the top, which are quick launch for playlists. Let me show you how to set one of those. You simply go to your library and find a playlist, or of course you can also do a podcast or an album, but I'm going to navigate to a playlist, and so we'll just go through the playlists. We'll go ahead and start this playlist, so I'm going to hit play on it and select a song. To set this playlist as a favorite up here using one of the quick action buttons, you have to be in the playlist. You're going to press and hold on one of the buttons, and then it's going to write that to that button. Now, as I mentioned, I have CarThing mounted to a vent, which is a little floppy. As you can see, I can move it back and forth, which might be kind of nice for viewing angles. I can kind of twist and rotate it a little bit, and I do like having it cocked to the side a little bit just so that I can view it straight on. I have it angled this way to make it easier for the camera here to see. But as I move through these, it's rocking the CarThing device quite a bit. And so probably what I would do if I was going to fully commit to CarThing is use one of the adhesive mounts and perhaps mount it right up here on the top of my dash so that I can have a more sturdy mounting point to connect it to. So let's do a voice search and see how well it works. Hey Spotify, open August Burns Red. Hey Spotify, play Kill Switch Engage.
Okay, this is Kill Switch Engage.
Hey Spotify, stop. Hey Spotify, play Stream Beats.
This is Stream Beats by Harris Heller.
Hey Spotify, next track. Hey Spotify, different album. Hey Spotify, stop. So as you can see, Spotify voice is not really that bad. When I didn't want to play an album, but I wanted to open an album, it did that. When I wanted to go and play an artist, it did that. When I wanted to go to the next track, it did it. And when I wanted to go to a new album, it did that as well, which was pretty cool. So overall, I'm liking the experience. This is significantly better than what comes built into my vehicle. All right, so I have some thoughts on CarThing. I think it's a great device. For a lot of people, this is going to be an excellent addition to their vehicle, making it easier to control Spotify and navigate the music system and just play stuff without having to grab your phone is a benefit, definitely. If you have something in your dash already, perhaps you have a vehicle like mine and the in-dash system is just not that great unless you're plugged in over a cable and you're using CarPlay or something like that, then this is a great alternative. I do wish that CarThing was more of a standalone device and didn't require my phone in order to work. It is a device that simply controls your phone. And so you have to have your phone in the vehicle, you have to have data on your phone, or you have to at least have music downloaded on your phone so that you can play music from Spotify through to your car. And so CarThing is neat. It's, I think, priced appropriately. It is a nice display. People have said it's buggy or a little sluggish or slow. I think it's a good mixture of responsiveness, especially when you're driving and, you know, swiping and doing stuff like that. You don't want something that's so responsive that it just scrolls all the way to the end of the list. Our phones do that sometimes, and it can be kind of annoying. So CarThing at its price, I think, is great for somebody that doesn't have CarPlay or Android Auto available in their vehicle. I don't think it's that big of a deal really to plug in my phone, considering I'm still going to have things plugged in my vehicle. If you have CarPlay or Android Auto, that's probably the best way to go. But if you don't have that, CarThing is definitely the next best bet. At the price that it is, I think it's a good investment in your vehicle so that you have a better listening and playing experience where you don't have to grab your phone all the time and be tempted or distracted by the phone in the vehicle. So I've got a link down to CarPlay down below. Of course, you purchase this through Spotify. I think it's an interesting device. If you're looking for a better way to connect to your Spotify music in your vehicle, definitely give it a try. So that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel to be notified when I put out new videos, and I hope to see you back in another one soon. Take care.